Ed, it is an honor to have you on the show. Thank you so much for taking the time to do this.
Chris, I've been looking forward to this, man. It's one of those things on my calendar. I'm like, this will be interesting. We don't know each other yet, and I'm looking forward to connecting today. So thank you for having me.
Although I feel like I know you so well. I feel like so many people feel like they know you so well from everything that you post on Instagram and everything you have going on there. So it's good to finally like meet face to face.
Yeah, I'm honored to do it, man. I was looking forward to it too. It's been on my calendar for a couple of weeks, and I'm like, that's one of those I really want to do. So I'm glad we're here.
Yeah, I'm pumped about this. And congrats on the book, by the way.
Thank you. It's a labor of love. I'm not going to write another one for a while. People ask me, it's called The Power of One More. And people are like, why'd you name it that? Because there's probably not one more coming anytime soon. When I was 30, I thought I knew everything. Now I'm 50 plus. I'm 51. I wrote it when I was 50. And I realized how much I don't know.
Yeah.
And so what I did is I wrote a book about what I do know.
Mm.
And I know how to change your life. I know how to help you become happier, more successful at this stage. And so it's a heavy book, to be honest. It comes out of real emotional stuff, but it's a heavy book. There's a lot of heavy tactics and strategies in the book. So it's not short on that for sure.
So you say you wrote this when you were 50. Today's actually my birthday. So what a wonderful birthday present.
Wow, man. Happy birthday.
Thank you so much. So I turned 39 today, and which means 40's on the horizon. And I'm so curious for you. What did 50 feel like?
You know what? I would love to tell you that it didn't hit me, but I remember, I wrote the book when my dad died. My dad passed away last year, but I can remember vividly my dad at 50. And so it kind of hit me like, I'm potentially on the back nine of my life. Same time, I must tell you, and I don't mean this to brag, but like what I look like and feel like physically compared to what my dad looked like physically at 50, I look like what my dad looked like at 28 or 30. Yeah. I don't look 28 or 30, but I look at what my dad did. I think it made me want to triple my efforts to fulfill my potential. My daughter asked me at the birthday party, my daughter talks a lot of smack. No, when I turned 50, we were in Cabo. My daughter goes, Daddy, what's up with this midlife crisis you're in? And I'm like, what do you mean? She goes, come on, all the selfies and social media, you're in a midlife crisis. And I said, sweetheart, I am. But I was in a young life crisis. And I said, I'm in this hurry to replace myself all the time. I don't want to be the same guy every single year. And I said, so when I was 30 years old, I was in a 30-year-old crisis to be a different person when I was 31. And now that Daddy's 50, I'll be a different man when I'm 51. Same character, same principles, but hopefully more expansion, more growth, more understanding, more breakthroughs, more contribution, more memories. And so I think it just inspired to maybe hurry up a little bit and enjoy life a little bit more, but also give more. You'll get that feeling around 40. I think when you turn 40, those round numbers, when you get to a certain age, for whatever reason, it's just another day, but you're like, wow, this is a defining day right here for me in a good way.
That for me is the power of one more year puts me at 40.
Yeah, exactly. It does, brother. So enjoy 39. Just be present.
Well, that's the thing. And this is one of the things I love about you. It's the idea of like enjoying every day, because if you can enjoy every day, that means then you can enjoy every week. And then if you enjoy every week, then you can enjoy every month, and then so on and so on.
Well, I'll tell you, Chris, what changed for me is what is a day though. So I have I'll give you some stuff that's in the book, like for everyone can just have for free here, but I'm a pretty average person. Like my IQ, we do an IQ test a couple times every other couple years in my house. There's 4 of us, me, my wife, and my 2 kids. I'm 4th. And that's not being self-deprecating. I'm 4th. And so how was I going to produce extraordinary results? I had low self-esteem as a kid, child of an alcoholic. Like I had to fix all that. I had to fix time. And I've got convinced about 25 years ago, but the most ridiculous thing in the world is a 24-hour day. It's the most antiquated, insane, bizarre, perverted, wrong concept ever. We still manage time in the same increments that they did 300 years ago when there was no electricity, no cars, no phone, no internet, no smartphone. Give me a break. So if I wanted to write you a letter 100 years ago, 200 years ago, I'd have to write it, hopefully be able to write it, stick it on a horse's butt, and walk a month to you. Maybe you'd get it. You'd write it back a month later. I hear from you. Now I send you a text and we're connected in 30 seconds.
Right.
So how in the world are we still measuring time the same way? It's stupid. And so I started changing my day. My day now is from 6 a.m. to noon. That's a day. We've all had those mornings where we go, I've got more done this morning than I've got done in 3 weeks. Well, that could be most days. And so 6 a.m. to noon. And at noon, here's what I get the amount of fun. Some days I just screw off like a 24-hour day. But a day is not 24 hours. It hasn't been for me in 25 years. 6 a.m. to noon, fun, contacts, business, faith, fitness, whatever it is, friends. That's my day. And at noon, a little clock goes off like it does for most people before they go to bed at night. What did I get done today?
Yeah.
What didn't I get done? What's still on the list? What do I need to double my efforts on? What am I accountable for? What am I grateful for? What went great? Second day, noon to 6 p.m. Same thing. Third day, 6 p.m. to midnight. Now I get 21 days a week and you get 7. Stack that up over a month. Who's ahead? Stack that up
Wow.
over 6 months. Who's ahead? Stack it up over 6 years. Whose life's different? So I've had thousands more days in the last 6 years than most human beings. And that's not a metaphor. It's real. The other thing that happens, the world treats you differently, because what's scarce and precious in our culture is considered valuable. That's why diamonds are more expensive than paper. When your time becomes more valuable and precious, you do to other people. And the way the world responds to you changes. So I've got about 19 things in this book. Each of them individually could change your life. Collectively, you'll be superhuman. And one of them is this 24-hour day has been gone for a long time for me. It's
that's such a game changer. The way that you break it down like that is such a game changer.
It is. And by the way, when you first do it, you'll be like, do it for a month and you'll come back and go, my gosh. And you do it for a year, you're going to go to me. My whole existence is different.
Yeah.
My whole existence is different. I've been doing it for 25 years.
So when you wake up in the morning, what does your first, say, half hour look like? What's your morning routine?
It used to be more complicated. It's not as complicated as it gets used to. So my first book, I'm like, here's what I do. I get up, I do cold plunge, I do this. I've distilled it down to something really transferable, scalable, and easy for me to do, and sustainable. That's a biggie for me. So I'll tell you, the first minute I hit my knees, I roll out of my bed and I hit my knees and I pray. And I like to pray on my knees just for me because it reminds me of being small. And so I connect with God. I do a quick prayer. And sometimes it's not quick. Sometimes it's, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, but usually at least a minute. And then I get up and this is sitting next to my bed. So I drink a gallon of water every day. And I drink half of this half gallon of water before I actually move. So I really overhydrate quickly. That's hard to do at first. Not so hard after a while. I drink a half a gallon of water right there before I move. Now I'm energized. Then now that I'm older, I stretch and I work out a little bit. I stretch, by the way, and do a little bit of yoga, excuse me. I then go down to my gym. I have a gym at my house and I train for about 30 minutes now a day. I don't train for an hour anymore. And then I get up, review my day. Now I look at my phone. I've not looked at my phone the first 30 minutes of my day. I do not do that because if I look at my phone, like most human beings do, I'm now a reactor and a responder. That's the whole culture of my life. Yeah. I don't want that. So I don't look at it for the first 30 minutes. Then I look at my phone and I grab a cup of coffee and I get ready for my day. And that's my morning.
Anybody who's ever seen a photo or video of you knows that you're jacked. Like you are jacked.
Thank you.
Break it down for me, because I also love going to the gym. That's part of my morning routine.
I can tell. You look like it.
Thank you. That's very kind of you, especially coming from you. What does your workout routine look like?
Old school. I still train old school. What I've added, and I say old school, I'll tell you exactly in a minute, but what I do is way more stretching now that I'm older. I wish someone would have told me all the heavy lifting over the years, certainly takes a toll on your joints, your back, your tendons. But I'm a traditional dude. So Monday is chest. Tuesday is shoulders.
International Chest Day.
It is, man. And Wednesdays are usually leg day for me. So I do a couple body parts a day. I train 5 days a week. I do not lift on the weekends anymore. I do cardio 3 days a week. One thing I have added is a routine called the Superhuman Protocol. And it's not cheap, but I have to be transparent that I do it. I do lay when I'm done with my workout, I lay on a PEMF pad that sort of takes 10 minutes. It alkalizes your blood, separates your red blood cells. Then I do 10 minutes of oxygen under load, which is cardio with a tank of oxygen that I process. And then I sit in an infrared bed for about 20 minutes, red light therapy. So that's changed. I do that after my workouts now. But other than that, my workouts are very traditional, in the sense that I hit a couple body parts a day. It serves me really well. I still do muscle confusion because obviously over time your body adapts. Yeah. And I don't do tons of cardio because there's an adaptation on cardio as well, which is why I do 3 days a week. Sometimes I'll do interval training where it's raise my heart rate, slow it down. And other times I just do traditional Stairmaster cardio, but I mix that up to confuse my body.
Yeah. And look, it's amazing what you've been able to achieve, both personally, professionally, everything. And your body, I think, is a great demonstration of that.
Thank you.
The thing I love about the title of this book, The Power One More, is it can apply to so many different things, right? It can apply in the gym. It can apply to telling your wife or your husband, I love you one more time.
You got it.
Ed, what does it mean for you?
Well, you just nailed it. There's two things. Where it came from is, and this is a little bit of a long answer. I'll try to say it quickly, but there's two connotations for me in the book. The first is that when I was a little boy, my dad was an alcoholic until I was 15. And when my dad got sober, only my dad would do this. He got sober on 420, which is hilarious.
Wow.
And the rest of his life, my dad never celebrated his actual birthday, which was April 11th. He only celebrated his birthday on 420 because that's when he changed his life. But I was raised in that environment, chaos, shame. I'd go to school every day. Like, why do I come from this family? Why can't I have a normal family? None of my friends would come over to my house because of all the yelling they'd hear in the street. And it was a hard childhood for me. We're driving one day, and my dad's crying, driving me. I'd never seen him cry before. And he finally pulls over. He's still crying, and he doesn't look at me, and he goes, Eddie, I'm going to try to get sober one more time. That was the first one more I ever heard. And then he looks at me and goes, I'm going to give it one more try. There's a chapter in the book called One More Try. And I said, Dad, what would be any different this time? And he says, well, I'm going to lose you and your sisters and your mom. Your mom's taking you away. I'm losing my life, my family. And I love you enough that I'm going to give this one more try because I want you to have a dad you can be proud of. I want mom to have a husband she can respect. And he went away and he did it.
Wow.
And when he came back, another one more. I said, Dad, I said, you going to stay sober forever? He goes, I can't tell you that. What I can tell you is I'm going to stay sober for one more day. And my dad stacked up those one more days for 35 years. And it stayed with me because there's a lot of times like in business when I was failing, like, man, you think I got to decide I'm never going to quit. Everyone says that, never quit. That's a big commitment to make under duress. I didn't make that commitment. I went, I'm not going to quit for one more day. Just not for today. And then that stacked up to 35 years in business where I just didn't quit. Right. And so that had the connotation. The other one is this: I had no self-confidence. And so to build self-confidence, you have to start to keep the promises you make to yourself. And I did that. I became a baseline functioning, confident man by starting to keep the promises I had never made to myself, like drinking a gallon of water, like praying every morning, like working out, like getting up when I said, like making my bed, like setting my clothes out the night before. Basic things that you begin to keep the promises you make to yourself makes your mind believe you can do big things. Yeah. And so I changed my self-confidence because self-confidence is a reputation or relationship with yourself. And then I thought, that's great. Now I'm confident. How can I be superhuman? Because in life, I have a chapter in goals in the book. I teach you how to get your goals. It's very detailed. But the next chapter is on standards. We don't always get our goals. We will always ultimately get our standards in life. You will eventually get your standard. So I asked myself, what would the standard need to be superhuman? And it's one more. So now when I say I'm going to make 10 contacts a day, I make the 10 contacts. Now I'm self-confident. Then I make one more. Now I'm superhuman. I'm going to do 10 reps on the bench. I made it, kept my commitment. Now I do one more. I'm going to tell my daughter, as you said, I love her every day. I'm going to do it one more time. You start stacking up those one mores. You've done more, so you're going to be more successful. But more importantly, you've sent a message to yourself that I'm willing to do things almost no one's willing to do. I live at a higher standard than most people. I deserve a life that's different than most people. And so that's the power of the one mores. And then my dad, I'll tell you lastly, because I told you it was a long answer. Here's the ripple. I dated my wife in high school. We went to elementary school together. We would literally come down here to Victoria Beach and walk this beach. And I'd say, babe, I'm gonna get you a house on that beach someday. And she's like, you are? I'm like, oh, absolutely. And then I'd go home and go, Dad, who are these freaking people that live oceanfront? Like at the end of the planet, they live where the water starts. Who are these people? Well, my dad's like, I have no clue. I don't have any clue. And I figured it out. Eventually, when you find a family who's very successful or just very happy, at some point in that family lineage, they weren't. And then the one shows up, the one. And that one changes that family forever. They change the way they think, the way they act, the way they operate, the way the world treats them. And in my family, I'm the one.
Yeah.
I changed it, man. My nieces and nephews don't think like I did as a kid. The world doesn't respond to the Myletts like they used to. I changed it. And anybody listening to this, you can change it yourself in your family if you do the things that I have in this book. And then last, my dad used to tell me, he goes, you know, these big dreams you have, they're closer than you think, Eddie. And he goes, if you keep believing they're so far away, you'll act in accordance with that belief system and they'll always perpetually stay that far away. But what if the truth is, Eddie, because I changed my life, Eddie, with one decision. What if you're one decision away from changing your life? One meeting, one relationship, one new thought, one new emotion, one podcast, away from changing your life. And I bought into the belief system that I'm one more away from changing my life. And I'm right about that. And so is everybody listening to this.
That is so powerful.
Yeah. So there's all the one mores.
Love it. Ed, if your dad changed his life on that one particular day, 420, do you have a day in your life where you can look back and go, that's when it changed for me?
I don't. I have a series of them. I just played golf recently. It's a good question, though. I played golf. Some people, it's one day. I would say the day I asked my wife to marry me changed my life, for sure. The days my kids were born changed my life. I actually think the day my dad made that decision changed my life the most, though.
For sure.
And but I got to tell you, I just played golf with this guy. Everyone's telling us we got to meet. I belong to this club where most of the most famous people in the world live. It's a really unique place. It's in La Quinta, California, and everyone from Tim Cook to John Elway and Tom Brady and the Kardashians and you name it, like a bunch of people live there. And it's a very small community. There's only about Adele, Ellen DeGeneres. There's only like 150 of us that live there. So it's a pretty special, unique place. Phil Knight from Nike, Jerry West. It's a bananas place,
wow.
right? Yeah. And so they've all, that's a great association for me. They say, you got to play golf with this dude. And I'm like, all right. So I go to the first tee. He's like, Ed Mylett, big fan. At next 5 hours, I'm going to learn everything about you, man. I go, nah, that's not how it works, brother. I said, I already know everything I know and about me. I want to know about you, which is what I always do. If I'm in an Uber anywhere, I want to know about their story. That's why my podcast does well.
Yeah.
He goes, well, it'll be quick. I can give it to you here on the first tee. I go, give it to me. He goes, 1986, I loaned a guy 50 grand. So did my best friend. A week later, my friend got cold feet. He took his money back. I kept the loan. 25 years later, it turned into $750 million.
Oh my gosh.
So what the hell did you say, dude? He goes, 86, I loaned a dude 50 G's. It turned into 750 million. I said, who the hell did you loan this money to? Jeff Bezos. Oh. I said, you're freaking kidding. I'm looking around. The other guy's like, it's true, dude. And so I said, dude, you were truly one decision away, one loan, one relationship away. He goes, oh, yeah, just one. Now that's extreme. I don't have just that. I have a series of big one mores in my life. So there isn't just one for me, but if I had to pick one, it was probably my dad getting sober.
I want to take a page out of your book. I listen to your podcast all the time. I love it. I recommend everybody to listen to the Ed Mylett Show. I want to take a page out of your book. And you say this all the time to your guests, but I don't know if anyone's turned this around on you. I know you're a humble guy, but I want you to not be humble for a minute here.
Okay.
Why have you been able to achieve everything that you've been able to achieve?
Oh, wow. Well, without what came to my mind would be what you'd think is a humble answer, which is really great mentors in my life. And I say that to you because, my dad was one. My dad's the main one. But then, when I was young, I got to know Tony Robbins. We became great friends for 30 years. Another point, when I was young, I'm running on this beach in Hawaii early in the morning. I won a contest to go there. I was broke. I'll never forget it because I was staying at the Ritz-Carlton Maui, and we checked in there, and I told my wife, I go, we're going to go. We can't eat here all week. The food's too expensive. So we actually went to the grocery store. I'm walking through the lobby of the Ritz-Carlton with all these grocery bags, and we just made peanut butter and jelly sandwiches in our room for a week. I think I had one dinner that I could afford at the Ritz-Carlton. So, but anyway, one morning I'm up before the sun is, which is you get rewarded for. I'm running down the beach. This bald man's running towards me with like a hairy back, and he's all sweaty. I'm like, oh gosh. And he's running towards me. And as he gets closer, it's a man named Wayne Dyer. And Wayne Dyer is one of the all-time guru thought leaders in personal development, a beautiful soul. I mean, just truly a unique man. And if you don't know him, you guys should Google him, and you're going to be blown away that I got to know him and Tony when I was young. And he ran by, goes, Dr. Dyer. I had a Walkman on. That's how long ago it was. And he had one. I go, hey, you changed my life. And he turns and stops. He goes, well, I doubt that. You probably changed your life, but how did I help? And he walked towards me. We sat down on the beach and we watched the sun come up together for an hour and a half. And at the end of it, he's like, Ed, called me Eddie, as most of my friends call him. He says, Eddie, you're going to change the world, son. And I said, thank you. He goes, I think you're brilliant. And the way you articulate your thoughts is I've never heard before. And he goes, and that's not why. And he goes, I'm worried that you're going to attach your self-worth. You're going to attach your confidence to your abilities or your achievements. And he said, Ed, if that's the case, you'll be chasing them all your life. And when they don't work out, you'll be devastated. And I said, well, what am I supposed to do? And he goes, you already have all that. He goes, I'd like you to attach your worth and your self-esteem, your identity to your intentions. He said, you have a beautiful heart and you intend to do so good and help so many people, that's what's going to make you change the world. Please always attach your confidence when you walk in somewhere with your intent. Bro, it changed my life because I didn't believe I was talented. I didn't believe I was smart. I don't believe I'm special. I just don't. But I do believe I have great intent. What I didn't know is he's writing a book at that time called The Power of Intentions. It's a great book. Everybody should go get. Get mine first. Get The Power of One More first. And I've always, man, like even before we started that, I was on another podcast and I had to clear for a minute. And I just sat back and I connected with my intentions. And I believe that's why I have confidence in what we're doing right now. I've made hundreds of millions of dollars focusing on my intentions to give myself confidence. So when I walk in a room, you may be Tim Cook. You may be Phil Knight. You may be Tom Brady. It's hard to walk into that room and feel confident, but I do. Yeah. And I walk in that room because I focus on me and my intentions and my willingness to serve and make a difference for people. And it kind of has always comforted me all my life. And so I have in the book a trilogy of confidence, which I say is your faith, your intentions, and your associations. And if you combine those three great associations, focusing on your intent, if you have faith, carrying it, always blows my mind, man, when people have faith, whatever it is. Church, they're at church Sunday. I'm a Christian, but whatever your faith is, you go to your synagogue or your mosque or you're an energy person, you really believe strongly in your faith on Sundays or your Bible study or whatever. But then when you walk into a business meeting, you're alone. You walk in to give a speech, you're alone. That's bizarre. And I just don't walk in alone. My faith comes with me. My intentions come with me. My associations, these people that I surround myself with that have high expectations of me, come with me. And that's been my formula probably for why I've produced some results.
There's this great story about Oprah and intention. And she would talk to her guests before they would come on the show. And she would say, what is your intention out of this TV segment? Because she knew the massive audience that it would reach. So she would say, what is your intention? What do you want people to get out of this?
Wow.
I'm so curious for you, Ed, when you go into an interview, maybe you don't ask that question specifically, but what is your intention with the podcast interviews that when you have guests on your show?
I genuinely care about the person I'm interviewing. I'm genuinely interested in them. And then I want to ask the things that I think the people are listening would be yelling into the screen if they could.
Yeah.
But I just try to stay very present with them. I only have two big skills, bro, that I've made whatever success I've had with. And I want to share with everybody what they are and then where they come from. I'm really good at being present and listening and reading human beings. And I'm really good at communicating. Other than that, my gifts fall off the cliff. And both of those gifts were born out of tragedy. I read people and I'm present with people because I'm the son of an alcoholic. And by the time I was 5 years old with 3 little sisters and a mom, every day I would have to read, if he came home, the man who was walking through that front door. So I was never a little boy. At 5, I would look up at this man when he would come through the front door, my daddy, and I'd wonder, I'd have to read him. Is he sober? Is his tie still tied? Is he walking straight? What do his eyes look like? What's his tonality? Is he slurring his words? And if it was sober, Dad, we're going to go have dinner and shoot some hoops in the backyard. But if I could read that he'd been drinking, I needed to get Mama upstairs to take a bath and get my sisters up in their rooms because I would read him. Little did I know that those hundreds of days when I was reading my own father coming through the front door, God was preparing me to use that number one skill in my life in business. And for those of you listening, most of your gifts, most of the beautiful things in your life are on the other side of pain. The second gift is I would grab his hand and say, talk to him. Daddy, I got a 93 on my spelling test today. I hit a home run at practice in baseball. What did you do today? What are you grateful for? How was your day? It's pretty hard, even when you're drunk, to look down at your only son who's saying this beautiful little boy looking back up with you and not change your state.
Yeah.
And here I am 35, 40, 50 years later, man. And I've made hundreds of millions of dollars by my ability to read and be present with people and my ability to communicate. So what I do in my interview is that, but it's no different than if I got in an Uber, but drives my wife crazy. I'm like, so tell me your story. And I just did it 2 days ago. The guy's like, I'm from Lebanon. I go, Lebanon, never been. Tell me about Lebanon. He's like, oh, I lived in a gated community. I had Christian neighbors, Muslim neighbors, Hindu, agnostic, Jewish. I said, what? I thought Lebanon. He goes, no. Most of it's like that, but not where I live. We'd have block parties with all the different faiths and all the different families. I said, you're kidding me. He said, I had to leave because we got bombed and I came. I said, well, why are you driving Uber? He goes, oh, well, I have a daughter at Yale. I have a son at Harvard. My youngest is going to Stanford next year. I said, are you kidding me? He goes, yeah. So I do this to supplement their tuition. And I go, you're amazing. He goes, I'm not amazing. I have an amazing wife. Let me tell you about my wife. And then he went on to rave about his wife. What a beautiful 30-minute experience. My belief is this: human beings are gifts, and it's our job to open them up. And the way you get people to open up is by you opening up first. And when you open up, other hearts open up to you. And then people, that's not a real hardcore business conversation, Mylett. Well, I got 800 million. How much you got? And I say that without humility because I know I'm right about what I'm telling you. And any other business lessons you've learned the other way is why you're not. And if you'll start to read my stuff, this book, bro, is heavy tactics. There's a whole chapter on the matrix, your reticular activating system in your brain, right? How to build your confidence, how to build your identity, how to find equanimity, which most people don't even know what that word means. And here's what's in the book. I've been blessed that over time, some of the people I've already mentioned, but others, I coach them. I've coached some of the most influential people. They've run big countries, real big ones, big companies, actors, entertainers, athletes. What I've been teaching them privately for years, I decided to put in a book for everybody. And so it's very detailed. You'll be blown away by the specificity in this book. And I'm going to brag and say that you will have never read a book remotely close to what's in this book. I'm sick of reading personal development or business books that are the same damn book. It's the same book every time, right? Law of attraction, think positive. It's all your mindset. Here's how you manage your time. Have a to-do list, do what's important. I've already read that book, right? And if it worked, there'd be more successful people. So I love Think and Grow Rich. It's my second favorite book other than the Bible. It's right here. It's only 2 books on my desk.
Well, that's like an updated version. Look at that.
It is, bro.
Mine's like falling apart. It's a paperback that's falling apart.
Well, Robin Sharma sent me this as a gift and wrote a beautiful note.
That man is a gift.
He is, man. He sent me this book, and I love this book. But I'm going to say something to everybody. You don't just think and get rich. You got to do stuff.
Yeah.
So I wrote the book about what you need to think and do simultaneously that produce the result. And it's the first one ever written like it. I know I'm bragging, but
brag away, Ed.
But it's true. It's true.
This may be difficult to narrow it down, but you've had so many incredible guests on your show. What do you think is not the most powerful person you've spoken to, but what's the most powerful moment that you've shared with somebody on your show?
That's a toughie. And I'd be disrespectful to everybody if I said one, but I'll give you the one that just occurred to me in the moment. And she had the least amount of followers ever on my show. And her name's Kayla Stockline. And what happened was I used to go to this church, and the father was an amazing pastor, and he got leukemia and died, and the son took over. And that was Kayla's husband. And so the pressures of running that church or whatever it was, I don't know, but this man had 3 young sons that look just like him, by the way. 6, 4, and 2 years old. He's pastoring a church. And on a Saturday, he went to their sports game and gave him a hug and a kiss and went into the church and died by suicide a few hours later. And to have her tell that story in my home and sit with this precious woman who's now got these 3 boys who wonder where their daddy is. And the power of her story and her message about mental health and how much it matters. If anyone's thinking about taking their own life, this is what it looks like that it'll do to your family after you do it. And she saved millions of people's lives in this conversation, this courageous woman. And this was not that long after it happened. Now, the cool news is she just messaged me yesterday. She's got a new book deal coming out, and I'm going to write an endorsement for the book. And so her life's changed from being on there as well. But she wasn't the famous person on my show, nor the most powerful, nor the most wealthy or most influential. But I can't think of somebody who made a bigger difference than Kayla. And so I would probably, she's the first one that occurs to me.
That's so powerful.
Yeah.
Look, you've mentioned his name a few times. Selfishly, I want to know when Tom Brady's going to be on the show.
Yeah. Okay. I'll let you know. It's close.
Oh, it's happening?
No, I just got to say it's close.
I think I've only heard one other podcast where Tom Brady's been a guest. So this would be such a treat.
He has his own. So maybe there's a trade in place.
Oh, okay. If somebody wants to achieve what you've achieved, and they're at step 1 in this process right now, what's something they can do today to get on that path?
Okay, I have a chapter in the book. I'll just give you my stuff, man. So there's a chapter in the book on becoming an impossibility thinker and a possibility achiever. Just stay with me. Most people, 99% of the population operates out of a frame of reference that's their memory and their history. 1% of the population operates out of imagination and vision. You are currently operating out of your history and your memory. That's okay. I've done it. And so what happens is our mind moves towards what it's most familiar with. So if it's most familiar with our problems, our fears, our worries, our lack, our whatever it might be, we move towards that. So you have to begin to imagine. So chapter 2 of the book's called The Matrix. The Matrix is the chapter in that book because Neo in the Matrix is the one. And I'm the one in my family, like we talked about. But there's more than that. The Matrix is your reticular activating system in your brain. It's located in your prefrontal cortex. And it's your filter of your entire life. And until you change that filter, you're going to keep getting the same things. I'll give you an example. What the RAS does is it reveals to you what's important to you or what you mean or believe deeply. So it doesn't think about the blood rushing through your right ear right now, or you'd go crazy. So it keeps you sane, and it only filters in what you strongly believe. Mm-hmm. It's a fact. So for example, I just bought a Tesla. I like what Musk is doing. I told my team, get me a Tesla. I get this Tesla. I'm driving on the road now. I'm like, babe, red Tesla, white Tesla. I'm seeing them everywhere. Red one, honey, 3 lanes over, other side of the freeway, going the other direction. Babe, black Tesla. Are you kidding me? She's like, you're crazy. I go, here's what's bananas. They were always on the road and I never saw them before.
Right.
We've all had this experience when you buy a new car. All of a sudden you see them everywhere. Well, they were always there. Or if you're in a room, loud room, for me, someone just says the name Ed, not even audibly any louder than everybody else. I could hear my own name because it's part of my RAS. The key thing in your life is that you need to begin to make these dreams and visions that you have of your life, your Teslas. And you will begin to see things that were always in your periphery, hear things that you didn't hear before that were hearable. And all of a sudden, the world starts to reveal to you what you believe to be most true, and you'll prove it to be true. It finds references for it. It validates it. The question then becomes, is that going to be your problems, your worries, your fears, your anxieties, your lack? Or can you reprogram yourself so that it becomes your Teslas? And I teach you how to do that in the book with very easy to do, like basic, simple, repeated visualizations that will begin to open up your RAS. And you will come to me in a month or two and go, bro, this seems coincidental, but I just got this account. I just heard this guy who sent me to someone else. I was at this place and I look out of my rear view and my dream woman's sitting there. You're going to start to see, hear, and feel things that were always there. The second piece is this, and then I'll shut up because we're going to run out of time.
Please don't. This is such powerful stuff.
This is pretty profound what I'm going to say to you because it happened after I wrote the book. This isn't in the book. I'm 51 years old. My dad died when I was 50. And I've already told you the most important day of my life is April 20th, when my dad got sober. Woke up about 3 weeks ago and I woke my wife up pretty emotional. And I said, babe, something just occurred to me that I've never thought about before. She's like, what? I said, someone helped daddy. She went, what? I said, someone helped my dad in the darkest moment of his life when he was losing his family. He was the most ashamed. Someone stepped up and helped daddy. And I don't know who they are, but they changed my life. They changed my dad. They saved my dad's life. Max and Bella are kids who weren't born. Owe them a debt of gratitude. Millions of people I reach every month. It's thanks to this person. She goes, oh my gosh, one person made that big of a difference, that ripple effect. I said, it's better than that. What qualified them to do it? The things they were the most ashamed of in their own life. That they were also an alcoholic and a drug addict. See, most people think the things that they're most ashamed of, their biggest failures, their bankruptcy, their relationship failure, the thing they don't want you to know about something they're ashamed of, their average, ordinary existence, disqualifies me from success, disqualifies me from changing my life. You're disqualified because of these things. This person's shame and most embarrassed things was what qualified them to save my dad's life. Had they not been a drug user, had they not stolen, had they not driven drunk, had they not lied to people, they would not have been qualified to help my dad, because God does not call the qualified. He qualifies the called. And that person was called in that moment to help my father. And they stepped forward in spite of their shame, in spite of their setbacks, in spite of their weaknesses, and changed the world by helping my father that day. And so the thing that you need to stop doing is thinking you're not qualified, that you're disqualified because you've never done it before, or you're average, or we don't know about this thing, or you're broke, or you had a business fail, or a relationship fail, or you're not in the best shape in the world, whatever the heck it is. And you think, or where you come from disqualifies you. Nothing could be further from the truth. This old adage that your test becomes your testimony, your mess becomes your message, is no longer a saying to me. I know this for a fact. I'm talking to you right now because this drug addict alcoholic rescued my father in some bar or some dark room or some coffee shop somewhere, changed his life and changed the world as a result. And so don't ever discount yourself.
Brother, this is so powerful.
Yeah.
This is such powerful stuff. Before we wrap this up, I want to talk about, if people pre-order your book, this event that you're putting on is unbelievable.
Yeah. Well, so if you listen to this before May 27th, 2022, this is when you're hearing it, go to maxoutlive.com. Here's why. If you pre-order my book, I'm giving you the greatest gift that's ever been given in personal development or business. And here's what it is. It's an all-day event that you can watch by Zoom in your home, totally free. And here's who's speaking. Myself, Andy Frisella, Mel Robbins, just that alone, Eric Thomas, John Gordon, Maria Menounos, Jenna Kutcher, Rob Deerdeck, Dean Graziosi, Jim Quick, Marie Forleo, all speaking on one day, totally free from me if you pre-order my book. So go to maxoutlive.com. If this is after May 27th, 2022, you probably missed it. And you can go to the
go to another event.
Yeah, you can go to thepowerofonemore.com.
Yeah.
And you'll get enhanced. But either way, go pre-order my book. Go order a few. If you want to come in person May 27th, buy 25 books. You can come in person, but just get one book and watch it at your house.
I have just two more questions for you. This has been so amazing, Ed. Again, appreciate your time. All the knowledge that you're dropping here. It's unbelievable. It seems like you've accomplished everything that you've ever wanted to accomplish. Do you still have goals for yourself?
Yeah, there's a bunch I haven't accomplished, bro. I don't feel like I'm there at all. Yeah, I want to help a lot more people. The first half of my life, I had to kind of build my life up. You know, and I made a commitment, actually probably by the time I was about 40. I want to help other people build their lives up. I feel like this is my home. This is not work to me. I get to do this. I don't have to do it.
Yeah.
And I could be sitting on that beach. It's overcast today, but I could be out there right now if I wanted to. I'd much rather be with you. I'd much rather be helping somebody if I can. It still amazes me that people want to listen to me. I'm still very grateful for that, and how kind people are out in public to me when I meet them, sharing with me how something's changed their life. And so I want to help millions more people. And I also want to grow and learn. I want to be a better man. I want my faith to expand. I want to be able to, I'm not going to write another book for another 5 or 6 years because I need to live another 5 or 6 years so I have more to share. Yeah. I put in this book what I know now. And so, yeah, I have plenty of goals. None of them are financial anymore. I'll probably be a billionaire either way. And so that stuff is not that important to me. I think people matter and things don't. That doesn't mean I don't want you to be rich. I have been happy when I was poor, and I've been happy when I was rich, and happy rich is way better. So I want you rich, believe me, but it's not going to fulfill you. It can make you happy though.
Yeah.
There's a big difference between happiness and fulfillment. And so I'd rather fly private than commercial. I'd rather drive a nice car than a bad car. I'd rather eat at Mastro's than Del Taco. I'd rather, like I did yesterday, I bought my mom a new car yesterday, had it delivered to her house. That's pretty cool to watch her cry, watch her shocked.
That's beautiful.
That's a house, by the way, that she lives in that I paid off for her. I've been able to do that for my in-laws, like to be able to do things for people. When the charity needs me, I can step forward. When my sister lost her vision and she's diabetic, I was able to get her connected with the best doctor. And so, yeah, I have big goals, but most of them involve changing other human beings' lives, not so much my own anymore. And that's not noble or anything like that. I do it because it makes me feel good.
Yeah.
So it's selfish in that sense.
I end every conversation talking about gratitude because it's so important in my life. I wake up every day. I say out loud 3 things I'm grateful for. I do it before going to bed as well. So Ed, for you in your life right now, what are 3 things that you're grateful for?
I'm grateful for a God that loves me. And that gives me tremendous comfort in my life. And so I'm so grateful for that. I'm grateful for the fact that my father made one decision and it changed my life forever. And inside of that, I'm grateful for the fact that we all have the opportunity to make those decisions, have those meetings, build those relationships. And the third thing is I'm grateful for my family, because at the end of the day, when life gets to its last day, like it was for my dad, all my dad wanted was his family around him. And we all were with him. I held my dad's hand as he took his last breath. I'm grateful for one more opportunity in my life. If you want to know the power of one more, bro, I'll leave you with this. It's when it's taken from you. My favorite thing in the world was to play golf with my best friend, my dad. And neither one of us are great golfers, but it was 5 hours with my best friend. We talk about life and politics and faith, which, by the way, we disagreed on. And I loved it. Do you know what I would give for one more round of golf with my dad? bro, one more, just talk to him one more time.
Yeah.
So if you want to know the power of one more, what I'm grateful for the opportunities of the one mores I still have. If you want to know the power of one more, what if I told you, if you're in love with somebody right now, that you get one more dance with them? If you have a mom or a dad who's alive, you only have one more talk with them. How much more precious would that next talk be? If you have children or someone you love, and I said you get one more conversation with them, how much more important and precious and valuable, how much more present would you be if you only had one more? And if you begin to approach your life like, I might only have one more of these, man, will your life transform. So I'm grateful for the fact that I have one more day. I've had one more hour with you, one more hour with these precious souls. And I really mean it. I'm fully present with you. I'm not looking at my phone. I'm not thinking about what's next.
Yeah.
Because what if this was the one last conversation I get to have about these topics? I want to make sure I max it out.
Right.
So I'm grateful that God's given us all one more.
Yeah. So grateful for this conversation, Ed.
Thanks.
This
man.
was incredible. So thank you so much. I look forward to doing the next one in person with you. I'm just down the street.
You're down the street, man. We'll do it at the beach next time. The only thing is I'm going to make you drink some tequila or smoke a cigar, but we'll figure that out.
If I have to.
Okay. All right. Go get my book, you guys. The Power of One More.
Thank you so much, brother.
Thank you, man. It's great.